Everyone, in this video we're going to be taking a look at this 2021 Mazda 3. A few things make this one unique. First of all, it's the hatchback, which I find to be the more interesting design. Second of all, this one has all-wheel drive, which is somewhat unique in this segment. And then the third thing is that this is the new 2021 turbo model. It uses Mazda's turbocharged four-cylinder engine. It makes 250 horsepower and 320 pounds-feet of torque if you feed it premium fuel. On regular fuel, it makes 227 horsepower and 310 pounds-feet of torque. Either way, this one's pretty quick. It has a 6-speed automatic transmission, so not the newest transmission out there, but I find that fewer gears make it a little bit more engaging to drive. And all around, I've always loved the Mazda 3. This new design is really attractive. It's got a great interior, and yeah, let's take a closer look and then take it out for a drive. This is the 4th generation Mazda 3. It came out for the 2019 model year. Not much has changed. It launched with all-wheel drive, but this new turbocharged powertrain is new for 2021. It's only available with a 6-speed automatic transmission. To get a manual in the Mazda 3, you've got to opt for the premium hatchback trim, and it's only available front-wheel drive, so they've pretty much done away with the manual in the Mazda 3, which is a little bit unfortunate. But beyond that, this powertrain is pretty nice. We'll talk a little bit more about that later though. First of all, let's just take a look at this design. This one has blacked out features, so you'll notice this grille surround is black. It's got the black chin spoiler down there. Black wheels. These are 18-inch wheels. They are riding on Bridgestone Turanza all-season tires. Black mirror caps. A little bit of chrome trim around the door, around back. This is probably my favorite angle on this vehicle. I think the taillights are a really unique design. There's a black spoiler up here and then a black, I won't call it a diffuser, but black trim piece at the bottom of the bumper there. Here are your badges. So Mazda 3, all-wheel drive. And then the new thing for 2021 is this turbo. So it says Skyactiv G. It's Mazda's branding that it uses for its engines. And then there's your turbo badge right there. The button to release the hatch is underneath the Mazda logo here. So it's power release, but not a power operated hatch. Pretty much par for the course with regard to cargo space. It's a pretty deep cargo hole, and that's because these D pillars are very pronounced on this vehicle. So the belt line here is up pretty high at the rear. So as a result, there's just not a lot going on in this cargo area. You've got an LED light. Don't believe these are tie downs. No, not a whole lot going on back here at all, actually. Pretty Spartan. Underneath here, you've got your little space saver spare and your spare tire change kit. And then there is a subwoofer for the Bose audio system. One other thing of note, you've got a handle for pulling down the rear hatch here, and then this button allows you to lock the vehicle. I guess the idea there is that you get out of your car, you grab what you want out of the hatch, and then you can lock it before walking away. It's clever. It's the first I've ever seen a lock button on a rear hatch. Like I said though, really heavy D-pillars back here. They eat into your blind spot a little bit. They make it kind of hard to check out what's going on behind you. Car does have blind spot monitoring, so it's not that big of a deal. And all around, they just make for a really unique design. Here's the key. It's kind of unique. No buttons on either of the big faces here. The buttons are actually up the side, so you've got lock, unlock, and then your panic button. And that's about it. So since we locked it, we'll go ahead and unlock it and climb in. Okay, let's take a look at the window sticker. So you can see this is a 2021 Mazda 3 2.5 turbo with the Premium Plus package and all-wheel drive, and it's the hatchback. This color is called Polymetal Gray. This one, as equipped, is $33,750. Keep in mind this thing is fully loaded, so that figure represents about as much as you could pay for any Mazda 3. Fuel economy is okay, 23 city, 31 highway, 26 combined. Keep in mind the Mazda 3 still uses a 6-speed automatic, while many of its competitors have moved to continuously variable transmissions. All around, this interior feels pretty premium. Mazda has been making a pretty strong push upmarket in recent years. So while some of its tech isn't super advanced, like that 6-speed automatic transmission is maybe a little bit behind the curve, things like design, materials, refinement, all that is pretty top-notch. This isn't quite a hard plastic here. It's kind of a leather-wrapped plastic. It's somewhat soft to the touch. Move down, you've got a leather-like material on the door here with brown contrast stitching. These speaker grates are really nice. I'll open the door so you can get a better look at them. Bose audio system, like I said, and then these grates are, I believe, metal, and they have all these little holes in them. So it gives it a high-end look. This chrome trim piece finishes with the door handle here, so the handle is kind of integrated into this trim. You've got gloss black around the window controls. These window controls are a modern design. They feel pretty good. One touch up and down for all 4 windows. This one has a 360-degree surround view camera, and it's actually a really good high-resolution camera. The infotainment screen is a little bit small, but you still get this top-down view over here, and again, it's a pretty high-resolution top-down view. All around, pretty nice. Not something you get in all compact sedans or hatchbacks, so a little way the Mazda 3 differentiates itself here. Steering wheel's really nice. You've got chrome buttons. The buttons all feel really good. Not a flat bottom or anything. That might be nice to see, given that this turbo model is a little bit more performance oriented than the everyday Mazda 3, but you've still got some thumb notches here. Something interesting I noted about this steering wheel, say you take a cross section of the wheel here. Most wheels would just be a circular design, you know, complete circle right there. But on this vehicle, say you cut this wheel in half and the shape would be circular around the back, but then kind of flat at an angle right here. So it's just really nice to rest your thumb on this wheel because there's this flat area right here. Not something you'd notice right away, but just as you're cruising along, it makes a difference. It definitely makes a difference. Paddle shifters for the 6-speed automatic transmission. That's kind of nice. One of the reasons I like the 6-speed is because, say on a vehicle with an 8 or 10-speed automatic, the paddle shifters don't really do that much. Downshifting an 8-speed from, say, 7th to 6th gear, you're not going to notice that as much as you will downshifting a 6-speed from 5th to, say, 4th gear or 4th to 3rd. So the 6-speed automatic transmission coupled with the paddle shifters here just makes for a more engaging drive. There is a screen in the gauge cluster, so this is a physical ring, but the speedometer and then all this stuff around it is on a screen. All around, dashboard layout is pretty nice. Again, pretty high-end, soft touch leather-like material here. This is a rubberized material. Controls are pretty intuitive, pretty easy to use. This one has heated seats and then a heated steering wheel. Here's how you adjust your temperature. The button feels pretty good. Sounds pretty good. And then fan speed is controlled by this plus and minus button right here. Onto the center console. So cup holders are up here, and this is just kind of a storage area. This is like a piano black trim finish. This rocker switch right here turns sport mode on and off. It's a really nice button. So on, off. Back here, you've got your controls for the infotainment system. I should add, this infotainment system is not a touchscreen. I typically criticize vehicles that have a modern infotainment system but don't use a touchscreen. In this one, it hasn't really bothered me too much. So to control this infotainment system, you do it primarily via this knob right here. So the dial allows you to cycle through different radio stations. You've got a back button here. So we will go all the way home. So you've got information, entertainment, communication, navigation. To select something, you just push down. Around the dial, you've got a back button, a send button for text messages, media controls, and then a home button. I still wish it was a touchscreen, but the fact that it isn't, I will admit, in this case, allows for a cleaner interface design. It's a wide screen, not the biggest. It sits back pretty far. Volume controls are right here. Again, kind of nice. You're not reaching, you can just drive along with your hand right here and control everything you need. And the reason this works is that they're not trying to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. They're not using some proprietary touchpad design with unique clicks and different touch sensitivity. It's simple, it's relatively intuitive, and it works. So this is one instance where I'll give this vehicle a pass for not using a touchscreen. Center console box design is a little bit unique. I don't know if you cut that, but you pull the lever, then it slides back and then opens. Not much going on in here. You've got a USB port, 12-volt outlet right there. There's another USB port right here. I know you can't really see it. Little divider here. Yeah, nothing too fancy. It all works. Let's check out the back seat. So this is a compact hatchback, so there's not a ton of space in the second row here. I've actually got enough space for my knees though. I'm about 5'10", 5'11". This is where the front seat is when I'm driving. And I've got enough, well, pretty much enough space for my knees to move around freely. Good materials designed back here as well. Some vehicles you'll see them use nicer materials for the front doors than they do the back doors. But on the Mazda 3 here, same stuff is used in the back doors as is used on the front. Windows are one touch up and down back here as well. Really narrow window. The design from the outside is really bold. I guess you do make some compromises back here though for that design. Nothing on the back of the center console here. No vents, no buttons, no power ports. No power outlets in the second row armrest either, just a pair of cup holders. So that is maybe one demerit for the Mazda 3. There are no power sources in the second row. Grab handles, overhead light, although the door has to be open for that to come on. Yeah, so the materials in the second row are pretty nice, but there just aren't really any amenities back here. There are no overhead lights that you can turn on. There's no way to charge a phone. I guess the second row occupants could use the USB port in the console box here, but it would be nice to see at least one on the back of this center console. So spoiler alert, this car's a lot of fun to drive. I owned a 2011 Volkswagen GTI for about 8 years, and this reminds me of a more mature version of that vehicle. There's 50. So it's not fast, but it does feel quick. Most publications have clocked this thing at between about 5.8 and 6 seconds from 0 to 60. So it could be faster. With 250 horsepower, I would have guessed closer to 5.5, maybe 5.3 seconds. So I was a little bit surprised to see that it's closer to 6. That's still significantly faster than the non-turbo Mazda 3. Regardless, where this thing really feels quick is cruising on the highway, accelerating from say 40 to 60 miles per hour, or when you're passing somebody and you want to go from say 60 to 80 miles per hour. That's when this turbo really feels fast. Sounds pretty good. I'm not sure if that's a sound generator. I'm assuming it is, but either way, it's subtle, but it also sounds cool. The all-wheel drive system eliminates pretty much all torque steer, so that's nice. It's just very straight, linear, simple acceleration. Like I said, this steering wheel design is really nice. This is a great car to just cruise in. Something I loved about my old GTI was flicking the downshift paddle shifter and then shooting around somebody to pass them on the highway, and I get that same excitement when I do that in this vehicle. There's something about the way this engine is tuned. It feels like power is always on tap. So it's not a lot of power, but anytime you want to accelerate, it's there. You're not waiting for a turbo to kick in. There's no dead period between when you press the gas pedal and when the car actually accelerates. It just feels like it's always ready. It's always engaging to drive. So far in this review, I've referenced mostly mainstream competitors like Toyota Corolla, Honda Civic, Volkswagen GTI, but I will say I would definitely cross shop the Mazda 3 against compact sedans from the European luxury manufacturers like the Audi A3, Mercedes A-Class, BMW 228 Grand Coupe. I reviewed a Mercedes A220 earlier this year. That car cost $48,000 and it was no nicer than this one. So if I were in the market for a small compact sedan, a small luxury sedan, I would definitely look at the Mazda 3 here. Comparing this to something like that A220, I would 10 times out of 10 choose this and pocket the extra 15 grand. Even if this car cost $40,000, I'd still buy it over that $48,000 A220. Maybe that says more about the A220 than it does the Mazda 3, but what I'm getting at is that Mazda has been making a push up market in recent years, and I can confidently say that at least the Mazda 3 here is worthy of being cross-shopped with luxury vehicles. Handling feels super dialed. Suspension's maybe a little bit softer than it would be in something like a Volkswagen GTI. So the heads-up display and the screen in the gauge cluster here is pointing out all the different stop signs and speed limit signs. That's kind of nice. I have found that the lane keep assist has been a little bit obtrusive. It hasn't done it at all since we've been driving here. But earlier today, I was driving across a crosswalk, so that's perpendicular with all the other lines on the road, and the lane departure warning system freaked out. It started beeping. It showed that I was crossing the lane from all different angles, and it was somewhat alarming, and it definitely was what I'd call a false positive because there really wasn't anything going on. So got a little bit of that. Something else I've noticed, I've had the key in my pocket on several occasions right up against the door handle, and when I've gone to grab the door handle to unlock the car via the passive keyless entry, the car hasn't registered the key. So that's a little bit annoying. I've had to use the button a few times, some little things like that, but nothing that would deter me from buying this vehicle. Here's the first speed bump. Not bad, that was at about 18 miles per hour. That one was at just 15. Felt pretty good, felt fine. The chin spoiler on the front of this is pretty low, so I don't want to hit these too hard. Here's the biggest one. This is at about 22. Not bad. So I'm just avoiding all the potholes in my road here. Yeah, this thing handles really, really nicely. A lot of times you'll get into a nice luxury vehicle and the backup camera is garbage. That is not at all the case here with the Mazda 3. It's actually one of the nicest backup cameras I've experienced. So there is your look at the 2021 Mazda 3 hatchback all-wheel drive turbo. This vehicle is kind of a cross between a hot hatchback, a mainstream economy compact car, and a small luxury car. And I think it really combines all the best attributes of those three vehicles. It's priced, maybe in this case, slightly higher than, say, a Honda Civic hatchback, but keep in mind, this thing has a turbocharged engine, makes 250 horsepower, and it has all-wheel drive. So it's, I guess you'd say, priced proportionately more than, say, a non-turbocharged front-wheel drive compact hatchback from a mainstream automaker like Honda. So it's priced like a mainstream vehicle. Performance, maybe it's not quite on the level of the Volkswagen GTI, but it's approaching that. It's not fast, but it's quick. The handling's really nice, so it checks that box. And then the big thing is that this really, to me, now feels like a luxury vehicle. These surfaces are all super nice. You can get it with a Bose audio system. It's got a good infotainment setup. It's got a super high resolution backup camera with a 360-degree top-down view, but it still costs $15,000 less than a comparable Mercedes A-Class or, say, BMW 228i. So it really checks all the boxes, all at a really, really good value. I think if I were in the market for a fun small car like this, I would have a hard time passing this vehicle up. For me, it would probably be between this and the Volkswagen GTI. This is a little bit more luxurious. Something like a GTI is maybe still gonna be a little bit more fun to drive, but this just has a really, really great presence. So I think while it's not an electric car, and maybe that's a topic for a different conversation, as far as small mainstream sporty hatchbacks go, it's really hard to beat the Mazda 3 here. Thank you for watching.